Hi, welcome to My Window Cleaning Tools Reviewed. In this episode we're going to take a look at extension poles. Everything from a simple 4-foot pole right up to a 30-foot pole that gets you up to 3 stories. We'll even look at the Pro Curve by Mr. Longarm. The first pole we're going to look at is this 2 to 4 foot extension pole made by Ettore. Now most window cleaners in the business will recognize this pole as being an Ettore pole, mainly by the color. It's a very good pole. The locking collar works quite well. Feels pretty strong. I have dropped this pole a few times, broken off a piece of the handle. Last week I dropped it, missing a piece here. But all together it's a pretty strong pole. But it is kind of short. 4 foot won't cut it for a lot of storefront. And you know, I'm 6 feet tall, so it's not too bad for me, but even I can find myself stretching a little bit too much from time to time using this. So altogether, a good pole, but you'd be better off with a 6 foot and 8 foot. Anyway, you get the idea. The next pole I want to talk about today is the Unitech pole from Unger. Now this is slightly different than your traditional extension pole. Usually you would have a locking cone right about here. You'd loosen up the cone, extend the pole to your desired height, then tighten back up. But this one works a little bit different. This will tighten and loosen within half a turn in either direction, but you hold in the center of the pole and twist from the top. So you twist loose, extend to your height, twist closed, there you go, you're all set. Now this is a 6.5 foot pole. For someone like myself who is 6 feet tall, this is perfect for storefronts, and this has now replaced my 2 to 4 foot extension Ettore pole that I showed you before. The next extension pole I want to look at today is the Pro Curve by Mr. Longarm. Obviously named for the end of the tip, how it curves out like this. This is a 3-section pole. This is a 24-foot pole. The first section is a fiberglass construction, which helps make this pole very light, followed by 2 aluminum sections. And of course, curves out at the end. This is a very handy tool when you're using it as an extension pole for getting over ledges and getting down to the bottom of windowsills. And as a commercial tool, this can be quite handy when you have glass, very typical in commercial applications, that goes right down to the ground. Having the curve in the opposite direction and the squeegee on the end, you can squeegee right down to the bottom with very little bending. However, the extension version, which you see here, the 24-foot version, isn't all that ideal for a storefront because, well, who needs 3 sections for storefront, right? There is a smaller version of this tool, which is a lot handier. It's just, I think it's 2 sections, or might even be 1 section. Very handy for storefront. And I think that would actually be the better tool of the 2 to get, because as an extension tool, this pole can be a problem in a couple of areas. Area number 1 is it has its own unique tip, which is designed to work with its squeegee handle. If you try to use other tools with it, they will work, but be warned, there is a great chance of the tool actually slipping off because it's not made specifically to work with this tip. Second problem is I find that these locking collars don't really lock at 100%. And sometimes you can be squeegeeing the window, and halfway through that window, even though you have this nice and locked, or so you think, the tip still twists a little bit. That could be quite a problem when you're trying to finish up that window. The sun's coming down, you don't have a lot of chance to get that window nice and squeegeed properly, and then your pole goes and twists on you. You can ruin the whole job you've just been doing. So, like I say, the Pro Curve idea, the concept is great for storefront if you have the smaller version of this pole. As an extension pole, you might be better off with a traditional extension pole like a 30-foot Unger or Ettore's longest pole, and using a ledger type system for getting this angle effect. Plus a ledger or an angle adapter allows you a little bit more flexibility. This just basically has one angle to it. The last extension pole I want to talk about today is the Unger at-an-arm system. This system is comprised of 5 sections of pole, each being approximately 6 feet each. So the total pole system would give you 30 feet access. Now this pole is usually sold either as a basic 3-piece system, or you can add all 5 together. Depending on what your budget is, what your needs are. I'd say if you have the money, definitely go for the longest option. get all 5 sections. Then you can get up to 30 feet. It's a pretty strong pole. It's probably one of the strongest poles on the market. And be sure to get it with the Ergotech locking cone tip, which works with a lot of the Unger cleaning tools. Helps them lock on, which is very handy for when you're 20 or 30 feet up in the air. You don't want your tools accidentally slipping off the end and hitting a pedestrian or somebody. This is, a pole I'd say that's very much worth the money. I'm sure the Ettore poles are just as strong. It's got that same kind of fluted design as the Ettore poles, also to make it strong. So kind of a heavy pole, especially compared to a Pro Curve, which has that bottom section that's made out of fiberglass. The only thing I'd say is a little bit buggy about these poles, and it might be that the way the collar is designed, or could even be user error. If you don't have your whole dirty water, soapy water solution cleaned off the locking threads, every once in a while just clean it off, you may find that it's a little bit tough tightening and loosening up these collars. Like I say, that just might be user error, in other words me. But definitely I would recommend this pole. I use it 2 or 3 times a week at least. Along with a good extension pole system, you're probably going to want to buy a ledger tool, or in this case, an Unger angle adapter. This Unger angle adapter has a lot of flexibility, as you can see. It has a butterfly nut to tighten it up into any position that you really want. Works great as a ledger. There's 2 versions of the Unger angle adapter. This one has this nylon construction here, so it's not quite as strong as the other version, which is all made out of aluminum. In hindsight, I think I should have actually bought the one that's a little bit stronger, because I have noticed in certain situations you get this tool up in the air 20, 30 feet, and there's still a lot of flexibility there where you'd really like it to be nice and rigid. That way you have better control of the squeegee when you're getting right down to the bottom of the window, just over the sill. But otherwise, it's a pretty good add-on. And of course, you can put the Ergotech locking mechanism on it as well. If you have the Pro Curve system that we looked at earlier, and you are having problems with your tools slipping off this end piece, you can buy a wooden traditional cone tip from your local supplier, and that just basically screws on the end of the Pro Curve, and now you're all set for action. Well, this ends my review on extension poles. My 2 top picks would be the Unger 30-foot pole, and anything basically from Ettore. It's a nice and strong pole, nice design, good locking collars. The Pro Curve, you can probably search for more videos on the Pro Curve and see all the different techniques you can do with this pole, and decide if this is the right kind of pole for you. The Unger Unitech pole, the one that locks and loosens with just half a turn, like I say, it's a pretty good pole for storefront, but if you're someone who's aggressive with your poles and your squeezing technique, you might find that locking mechanism comes loose on you, and that could be a bit of a bug. Anyway, that's all we have for today. Wait till video number 4. Now that we've done poles, we have to just start to discuss what goes on the end of those poles, and we're going to start off with looking at T-bars and scrubber applicators. Okay, bye for now.